is 30 to 40 years of people, and the third group is 40 to 50 years of people. So I am getting here three different groups. And when I talk about what type of radio channels people love to hear, first one which has been taken here is FM radio, second one is Red FM, third one is Radio Mirchi. Now see, on the basis of these two variables, how many groups can be formed? We actually will do the combination on our own to increase our understanding. The first one is 20 to 30 years, it can be correlated with the first radio channel. 20 to 30 can be correlated with the second radio channel, and 20 to 30 can be correlated with the third radio channel. So this gives in all the three stratas. Similarly, if I am going to see 30 to 40 years, again this can be correlated with the Red FM, can be correlated with Radio Mirchi, and it can be correlated with FM radio. So three more groups. And similarly with the last group, the first correlation, the second correlation, and the third correlation. So which two variables we had used here? The first variable was the age group and the second variable was the radio channel. When you combine both these variables, the total number of stratas that you form will be 9 in number. And hence this is called a two-way stratification, and this is going to be very useful whenever a survey will be taken, because then with this stratas, elements which will be lying in this strata, we are going to understand more about their liking and their understanding. So this was two-way stratification, a very good example that we have seen here. Now we'll move again. Now what finally is the process of stratified sampling? As we have seen the most of the concepts, as we have seen the process of stratification, and now we understand how important the variable is, now we are going to see what actually is the process of stratified sampling. When we'll start from the first point. The first point here says to determine the variables, and on the basis of this variable the stratification has to be done. So that's the first point. Second point is determine proportion of each strata. Now once the variable has been divided, once the variable has been chosen, on the basis of this variable stratas have to be formed. And when the stratas are being formed, what has to be kept in mind is what is the number of elements that is lying in each strata. Third step says dividing the whole sampling frame into stratas. This we have simply discussed, that whenever you want to divide your whole population into different groups, sampling frame will come into picture. So once you have divided the whole process, once you have decided what your variable will be, once you have decided how many elements will there be in each strata, now you can choose the sampling frame and actually do the division. Once the division has been done, we come to the fourth point, which says choose sample from each stratum. Now once the subgroups have been formed, the strata have been formed, now from each strata how the sample elements are going to be chosen. Now any method of probability sampling can be used here, and usually the simple random sampling, as in either the lottery method or the random number method, is used to take out elements from each stratum. So that basically is our process of stratified sampling. Moving ahead, we see what basically is the rationale of stratification. We know that stratification is very important. We know that stratification has to be done because it ensures homogeneity. But then why we are doing stratification? There are three very important points that we have to understand here. The first one is stratification always gives an equal chance of selection. Equal chance of selection of what? Equal chance of selection to the members which are lying in each subpopulation. Second is it gives the independent chance of selection, and the third one is it always ensures that there is a proper representation. Now whenever a particular element has been divided into a particular strata, now being chosen, the first element being chosen, it is not dependent on any other element that it will not be chosen. So what am I actually talking about? I am talking about independence here. So your stratification your grouping of elements into different strata always ensures that there is an equal chance of selection as well as an independent chance of selection. Also, whenever we are using sampling for the whole population, we always understand and we always go by the assumption that whatever results the sample is going to give, it will always represent the whole population. So once you divide all the elements into different groups, we ensure that each and every element will be properly represented using stratification. So these three are very important points that why we go for stratification. Moving ahead, there are 4 important points as in why stratification is being used and why not other methods are considered important. As I have already told you that whenever you talk about probability sampling, out of these 4 sampling methods, stratification is considered to be the best method. Now why it is considered to be best? These 4 points will clear all your doubts. The first one is it always increases the precision. Why? Because you are converting a given heterogeneous population into a homogeneous population. So it always increases the precision of every element to be taken in the population. Second point is it increases the sample's efficiency. So why it increases the sample's efficiency? Now once you are dividing the whole population into different subgroups, as I had already told you that now the characteristic of each element will be properly covered. So when all the characteristics are actually properly covered by taking elements from each group or from each stratas, we say and we understand that a sample is being more efficiently analyzed. So as it increases the precision is gained. Similarly, the efficiency of the strata, efficiency of the sample can be maintained. So that's the second most important point. Moving to the third one, it reduces the sampling error. Again, this important point that we just discussed, equal and independent chance, that actually ensures that there is no sampling error. And what basically is a sampling error that I am talking here about? Now whenever from the whole population or from the whole universe we choose a chunk of elements and call it a sample, there may sometimes be a problem or there may sometimes be a mistake that all the sample elements are not showing the result that a population would have shown. So we say that this amounts to the error and this error is called sampling error. Now this sampling error is part and parcel of the process of sampling. But as we always go for sampling, we say that stratification or stratified sampling method is the only method which always try and reduces the sampling error. Now we cannot nullify the sampling error, right? Because as I said, it is going to be there. But stratification tries and reduces that sampling error because we are dividing the whole population into two groups or maybe more than 2 groups, and each elements get an equal and independent chance of being chosen. Fourth point, if you will see, stratification minimizes uncertainty. Uncertainty of what? Now variability which is associated with our response variable. See, this is very interesting. Now if you are dividing the whole population into 2 groups or maybe in different groups, now each group will have their own say. Each group will have their own characteristic. Each group will have their own liking. So if you are taking the whole population and you are making a survey, then there may be a case that there is more variability in all the population elements. But if you are using sampling, that too if you are using stratified sampling and you are using elements from each group, you are actually talking to a group in concentration. You are actually talking to another group and you are trying to cover all the characteristics. So the results which I am going to get from first group and the results which I am going to get the second group, I am going to cover all the characteristics of all the elements that are lying in my population. So it says that the chances of variability will be very low. The variations which might occur in the elements of the whole population, now those elements will actually be covered into different groups, and the variance between their results, between their responses, between their results will be very low. So again, if we see in all, why stratification is used? Stratification is used because we want 100% accuracy in our results. We want to increase our precision. We want our sample to be the most efficient enough. We want no sampling error. Of course, sampling doesn't minimizes or doesn't nullify the sampling error, but yes, it can reduce it. And the last thing is, it always minimizes the uncertainty. So these are the 4 points why we have gone for stratification. Moving ahead, there are basically 3 more reasons why stratification or stratified random sampling is used. The first reason is a practical reason, second one is administrative, and the third is a cost reason. Non-response rates and the quality of information may differ between subpopulations, and it can be efficiently handled by stratification. Now this relates to gain in precision, which we have just discussed. So it says that practically, if you are dividing the whole population into different groups, if there is any problem of non-response, it can be covered using stratified sampling, and there will be very less information which will not be taken out using stratified sampling. Second is when you go for an administrative reason, and if you are dividing your whole population into different groups, it is actually easy to manage all the groups rather than taking whole population into consideration. And third one is, of course, the cost, which researchers have to see if they are going for a survey. The cost per observation in the sample may be reduced as compared to the whole population. Of course, because you are not covering the whole population, you are just covering few sample elements. So the cost per observation of covering the data would be minimized. So again, 3 very important reasons which are always seen whenever a stratified random sampling or any sampling method is used for a survey. Let's move and see what basically are the benefits of stratified random sampling. We'll see them one by one. The first one is it provides greater precision than a simple random sample of the same size. Of course, because you are dividing the whole population into different groups, you are talking to elements of all the groups separately, so it is going to increase the precision. Second is sampling from each stratum guarantees that the overall sample will be representative of the whole population. Yes, we always try and cover all the elements and the characteristics, and of course we go by the assumption that the elements will be representative of the whole population. It always focuses on important subpopulations. Now there may be a case that you are using a variable for dividing your population into different subgroups. There are few groups which are very crucial for the understanding and for the sample to be chosen, but then there can be certain groups or different subgroups which are very small and doesn't have that many characteristics. So one of the very good advantage of stratified sampling is that you can put more observation, you can give more importance to those groups which have more elements and which have more characteristics. So that's our third point. Now if you will look in all with the advantages, it actually suffices why sampling as a method is used. Last one is it increases the efficiency of choosing the sample. Now once you have divided the whole population into different groups, from each group you are taking few elements and all these elements are going to form your final sample. That means each and every characteristic will be covered. That means the efficiency is very high. So looking at all the advantages, very important method stratified random sampling is. Now let us see few disadvantages also, because no method is actually there cannot be any case that the method doesn't have this. Let us see again one by one. This is very crucial as we had discussed. It is very important as well as difficult to select what variable we are going to use and do the stratification. So this is very crucial. If the variable chosen is wrong, stratas formed will be wrong, and hence the final sample will not be representative of the whole population. So you can understand how important choosing of the variable is. Sampling frame of entire population, yes, has to be prepared for each stratum. So whenever you are talking about different stratas, then you need to talk about the sampling frame and you need to make it. It is not useful whenever there is no homogeneous subgroups. We just need to divide the whole heterogeneous population into the homogeneous population. Sometimes the stratifying variables may complicate the design and may potentially reduce the utility of the strata. So variable is very, very important. Stratified sampling can potentially require a larger sample than the other methods would. So these are basically few disadvantages. Now whenever we talk about stratified sampling, all of you, it can be divided into two parts, proportionate and disproportionate. Talking about a proportionate stratification, what we basically do is each strata, from each stratum, number of elements which are chosen for the final sample, they are always in proportion with the total number of elements. The sample size of each stratum is proportionate to the population size of the stratum, and it always provides a better precision. Looking at this example, if you have 360 as your sample size, 5 stratas can be formed here on the basis of specializations, and you can see the number of learners is already written. Now if you see how the number of elements which has to be taken from each strata has to be divided, then this is the formula which you can see. It says Ni upon N into N. Now Ni is the population size of each stratum, capital N is population size, small n is a sample size. So how this has been done? Let us see. The same specializations and same number of learners, proportion has been calculated, that is 78 upon 360, 72 upon 360 and 60 upon 360, which gives you the proportion. And using this proportion, sample size can be calculated, which is 6.5, 6.5, 6, 6 and 5. Of course, as we are talking about numbers and people, 6.5 cannot be taken. So either it can be 7 or it can be 6. So this is how, with respect to the number of elements in each strata, we have taken out the sample elements, and the total sample size is 30. Now when you talk about disproportionate stratification, this method doesn't use proportion as the name suggests. Sometimes it may involve over-representation of some strata or under-representation of some strata. The sampling fraction here may vary from one stratum to another stratum. As in, what is very, very important is variances here has to be checked, because each group either will be heterogeneous or homogeneous. Now how this can be done? You can see here the formula. This says N into Ni into Si divided by summation of Ni into Si. Now disproportionate stratum always requires the standard deviation. So your SI stands for standard deviation, capital N population size, small n sample size. Now if you see this, if there are two stratums, boys and girls, mean and standard deviation is given, then using the formula we can just solve this case. This case says that 36 people are required from a school and the school contains 20,000